for all of us. It's about predicting where the consumer is going and getting half of it right.
One of the things we want to do is create ads that don't suck.
Embracing change creates great possibility.
I'm Alan Hart, and this is Marketing Today. Today on the show, I'm talking to Molly Catalano, Vice President of Marketing and Communications at Five Guys. Molly's got 15 years of experience in the restaurant industry, the majority of which has been with Five Guys. After convincing the owners of Five Guys to hire her in the hope of securing a fun temporary job, she has spent the last almost 13 years leading the marketing and communications efforts for the company. During Molly's time with Five Guys, the company's grown from 30 restaurants on the East Coast of the United States to more than 1,500 locations in 10 countries. The theme of today's show is a maniacal focus on customer experience. Everything from the perfect product in the perfect environment with the staff that's incentivized and oriented to deliver great customer experience. I think Five Guys is a master at this, and somebody we can learn from is Molly and how it all works. I hope you enjoy the show. Well, Molly, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about Five Guys. It's one of my favorite restaurants. So
that's a good way to start.
It is. I don't think we can start really a discussion about Five Guys without knowing the Five Guys story. Would you mind kind of telling us where it started?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So Five Guys started in Arlington, Virginia, kind of the Northern Virginia area in 1986. So we have been around for about 30 plus years. And at that time, there was the Murrell family, and they had 4 sons at the time, and that will make sense later. But the 3 oldest Five Guys were nearing the end of high school. And as Jerry Murrell, the father of the Five Guys, tells the story, he had some money saved for college, but in talking with the boys, he kind of offered a choice. They could go to college or they could start a business, and everyone decided to start a business instead. So Jerry and Janie Murrell, along with the 3 boys, started Five Guys, a small carry-out only hamburger stand in a kind of off-the-wall strip mall in Arlington, Virginia. And the name actually came from the 4 Murrell boys at the time. So Ben was a baby. And so it was Jim, Matt, Chad, Ben, and then Jerry was the 5th. But Janie always says she secretly wanted another child. And as luck would have it, it was a boy. So the Five Guys are now the 5 Murrell brothers. So they added Tyler to the mix.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so that's how they started. And the decor was simple. They didn't advertise. They just kind of opened the doors and focused on the food. And it grew from there.
Right.
And so people really started coming right away.
Do you know how long they operated in a single location before they opened another location?
It was a couple years that they operated right on that Columbia Pike location. I don't know the exact time frame, but I do know that the Murrell family, they opened 5 locations in the Arlington, Alexandria area before they started franchising.
Okay, great. Well, so how long have you been with Five Guys?
So I have been with Five Guys for almost 13 years. I was fortunate to meet the Murrells during my first job post-college.
Okay. And how did that come about? How did you connect with them?
So the job that I was working at was they consulted with Five Guys. So I was doing PR for emerging restaurant franchises. So basically trying to help attract prospective franchisees to a group of restaurant franchises. And Five Guys was one of them. They were by far our most successful client. So it wasn't really hard. I didn't have to sell much, and neither did the person selling. People were flocked to them, and I continue to for franchise interest. But I was ready to take the next step in my career. And to be honest, I did not think moving to a burger chain was good for my career. I remember my husband saying, "Why don't you give Five Guys a call?" And I was like, you know what? Well, who's going to hire me if they just see I worked for a burger chain? No, I wanted to be like a cool professional in a sleek environment. At the time I was actually going back to school. And so I was like, you know what? Worst case, I'll just tell people this is the job I did while I, was getting my graduate degree. But I quickly realized that it wasn't just a line on my resume, and I have stuck around for quite a while.
Right. Well, I would say it's not just a small burger chain anymore. You guys have, you guys have what, over 1,500 locations? Is that right?
Yeah, we have over 1,500 locations in 10 countries.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome. Well, we talked about this a little bit before. When you think of Five Guys, you don't, and if you know them, you don't think of a big marketing company. So what does marketing look like at Five Guys?
No, I don't think so. And I actually, when thinking about that question, if Jerry Murrell were doing the interview, he would probably say, we are a huge marketing company. We just aren't big on advertising, because he thinks, and the way Five Guys grew is everything we do in the store is marketing. And so it's within operations, we do our marketing. So if you notice, we have an open kitchen, which a lot of restaurants have now, but at the time that Five Guys, they didn't, right? Everyone cooked the food behind a wall. And so the fact that customers can see their food being made, they see how many times our employees change their gloves, that although it helps with food safety as well, it's also a marketing, piece that they can see their food and feel comfort in that. That's how Jerry would answer. But I would say, to tell you the truth, we have not done what you would consider traditional marketing. And we've really focused on the in-store experience, word of mouth, being reactive to the press, and then just more recently, some digital and social media.
Gotcha. So before we get too far in, can you describe the experience of what it's like, walking into a Five Guys? What's the experience like? What do I see?
Yes, I'd be happy to. And actually in the 90s, we had a restaurant reviewer review Five Guys, and I believe she called us clinically sterile with amazing food. and we loved it. I think we're a bit warmer in decor now, but what I think hopefully people feel when they walk through Five Guys is they hear the rock music playing a little too loud. They smell the fries being cooked because we use peanut oil. They see free peanuts in boxes that they're welcome to munch on. Yeah. And the decor is still really simple. We have just some signs on the wall that have quotes from restaurant reviewers and articles on the walls. We have piles, bags of our potatoes, and then the boxes of peanut oil that aren't just for decor. That's what we use to cook in our restaurant. And hopefully a bustling staff and like a good energy when you walk in.
Yeah. The line cooks and I don't know what the official position is, but the person that's they look like a kitchen general. They're like calling out patties, making sure everything is getting prepared and shuffled through the system.
Yeah,
they are the most boisterous people I've ever met in my life.
That's great. That is the toughest job.
Yeah, I mean it's like watching a conductor, at a symphony, and everyone's doing their part, and they're just kind of trying to keep everything moving at the right rate and pace. It's a pretty interesting to watch. But I would echo, it is a little clinically sterile, but that's what you want if you're going to eat the food, right? At least me, that it's clean, the food's going to be great. So it's a good experience.
Exactly. I joke, but that's the Murrells were like, oh, that's perfect. We want people to feel clean and know that, they see the potatoes and know that we're really using fresh potatoes. We want it to be pretty obvious what's important to us too.
Right. One of the things we talked about before was you mentioned that until I think it was around 2013, 2014, that really all your marketing budget was going to your mystery shopping program. So can you tell us a little bit about that program?
Yeah, I'd love to. And it continues to be the majority of our funds. And you're right, it was all of it at one point. But I think it makes sense. It's what we do is we put money in the hands of the people who are affecting the customer's experience the most. So the crew, the people in the restaurants. So we have a mystery shopping program, just like many restaurants and retail companies. So a third-party company sends secret shoppers to come in, and we have them come to our store really frequently. So it's about 2 times a week. And they fill out an evaluation that isn't looking for our crew to go above and beyond, but it's, rating us on our quality, our service, and our cleanliness, just making sure that our stores are meeting, the Five Guys expectation. And what we think sets us apart from what other people do is we put a lot of dollars behind how well our stores are performing, and we pay them often. So it's weekly, we have weekly, monthly, and quarterly awards. So a store, and actually it's a shift that's working, so maybe 4 or 5 people would split between $250 and $700 a week if they win.
It's amazing. I mean, there's no better direct correlation between what my job is and getting rewarded for it, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. And Jerry, the creation of this program was Jerry Murrell's baby at the time. And he continues to be focused on making sure the people who are getting the money are the people who are working. And he does that because he wants everyone to feel ownership, that their actions will benefit them, which in turn benefits the store. And so we think the program, it actually helps our employees go above and beyond because they're thinking, this is my store. I'm going to make more money if I give everyone the best experience, and it just keeps them motivated.
I mean, if you just do the math, right? 1,500-ish locations and $200 to $700, that's a lot of money that you're putting into this program. I mean, I'm assuming that it works, right? I mean, you guys have been successful. You've grown like gangbusters. So
it definitely, we think so. Yeah. I mean, I think it's been about at least $20 million over the last few years, every year.
Wow.
That we're paying out. And everyone's bought into this program. We have franchisees, we have new franchisees in different countries. And whenever someone new comes to the company, they're impressed by it and see the value and buy in. And so everyone's really behind this program.
That's great. That's great. So where does this like maniacal focus on the product, the experience come from? And one second question, I guess I'll go ahead and ask is, are there any tips that you think other marketers can learn from in terms of how you drive customer experience?
Sure. So I think this focus on product and experience, it started at the beginning and it comes from the Murrells. They've done an amazing job of keeping our entire company focused on it. It really, if you talk to any Five Guys employee, it could be someone sitting in Virginia in our corporate office or a new employee in Belgium, and that focus oozes out of them. The quality and experience and food safety are just like non-negotiable. That is just what's most important. And I think from a marketing perspective, if someone's trying to drive that customer experience, I'd have to say good luck because I think I have the easiest and hardest job. As a marketer, I didn't have to convince management to care about what the customer thinks is important. That's just part of who Five Guys is. The hard part of my job is that I don't want to ruin that. I never want to do anything marketing-wise that takes away from the purity of the brand, which is that focus on customer experience. But I guess if I had to give advice to someone who wasn't lucky enough to work in a company like Five Guys, I think it would be to show the data that shows that the customer experience is what drives your sales. And we do that. We still use that to show our franchisees if they think their sales could be higher and they want to do some crazy marketing tactic, we can show them that if they improve their operations, their sales will go up. And that's really powerful.
Right. And is that through like the secret shopper program, like tracking, or can you give me a little insight into the types of data you might use?
Yep, that's exactly right. So with our secret shopper data, and we also we do customer satisfaction surveys, and from people who call in to compliment or complain, we pull all of that data together. We work with our secret shopper company, who is also an analytics firm, and they've kind of run regression models and done statistics, and they can tell us each year kind of the 4 most important operational things that actually drive our sales. So we can tell a franchisee, hey, your store is not performing well on those key financial drivers. And if you can adjust them a little bit, you're going to do better in sales. And it's really powerful.
That's awesome. So we did talk about that it used to be all your spend. Now you've got a little bit of money to do other things with. When did marketing spend increase above that mystery shopper program, and what triggered the need for it?
Sure. So I think the trigger for the need for it was the change in our growth rate. Once the Murrells started franchising, it was just constant, really crazy growth. And in the years of between about 2008 and 2010, we were doubling ourselves, opening 200 plus stores. And so, our sales were growing just because we were in a new market and new stores, and it just was like a natural growth. And then in 2013, 2014, our growth, although we were and we continue to open stores in the US and abroad, we're not opening 200 plus stores in the US every year. We're opening more like 100. And so we were maturing as a brand. And so our store openings were no longer the news. And so, the franchisees and we said, hey, we want to stay relevant. So we, with the support of franchisees, started spending a little bit more money on external marketing.
Okay. So in a place where the owners didn't like marketing, or maybe I should put it in advertising since they think everything is marketing, what did you decide to do first and how did you do that?
That was a good question. And once we had the approval to have a higher spend, we all kind of looked at each other and like, well, what should we do? And we didn't want to mess anything up. We let the food do the talking, and we haven't talked about ourselves. Like, we don't want to just start talking about ourselves and do it incorrectly. And so the first step was internal branding. So you could talk to any employee at Five Guys at the time and they could tell you who Five Guys is. Our customers could tell you who Five Guys is and was, but we didn't have it in writing. We didn't have a style guide. So we didn't have anything to take to, a marketing agency and say, this is who we are. Can you help us just move the needle? So that was the first step. And then
Gotcha.
I think in that discovery too, and actually the evolution of marketing platforms, we just found that social media and digital media are a good fit for our brand. And they've evolved as well, right? So I think a lot of other companies are moving their marketing dollars to digital and social away from traditional media. For us, I think it was good timing and a good fit.
Right. I don't think we really talked about this the last time we chatted. What types of things are you doing in social media and digital media? Just give me a little sample.
Sure. So we have been doing for a while, organic social media, and we continue to do that. Goodness, that is actually doing really well. We just posted a user-generated photo of a bunless burger. So we have kind of like a burger wrap or a bowl. And it was crazy. People were crazy about it. So that helps. That was organic, totally unpaid. But for the paid items, we are doing, paid social media. So on Facebook, we have some Facebook ads that are the directional kind of mapping ads, Instagram and Snapchat. And then we have a couple YouTube bumpers, and we're doing some programmatic stuff as well.
Okay. And Snapchat, what are you doing on Snapchat? Because that's one platform I'm still trying to figure out personally.
Personally, I am too. I'm on it because I want to know about it and it's fun.
Right.
But, I suggest if anyone isn't, follow some people who really get it. And it helps you. We have a couple people in our office, actually our graphic designer. She's just really great in Snapchat. So if you follow her, you learn it. But for us, it's almost as simple as we're showing sizzling bacon.
Oh, yeah. I mean, how can you go wrong with sizzling bacon?
Exactly.
I'm hungry already.
So
It's 10:30. It's 10:30 in the morning, and I want a bacon sandwich now.
Exactly. So that's basically our Snapchat ad.
That's hilarious. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. That's for sure.
That's what we figured.
So to start marketing, you're a franchise business. Did you have to get the franchisees to provide feedback or get them on board? What was that process like?
Sure. So franchisees have been and continue to be a driving force in doing new, digital and social. So, they want to push the limits, but I do admire our franchisees that they know Five Guys is special and they're okay for the most part that we, fit any of our new efforts, under the umbrella of our brand. And so we do involve them. They're very much a part of deciding, what we're going to do next in terms of marketing. We have a task force. So it's about 8 franchisees who represent, the larger franchisee community, and they help oversee that new kind of small budget. And so together we decide what we're going to do.
That's good. It's smart. I mean, my wife and I have owned a franchise business before. We're out of it now, but I think it's just, there's always natural tensions, right? Like between franchisor, franchisee, and those task force and things like that. I think they can work very well. But also, I mean, you guys clearly know what your business is about, and that also helps. I think the more complicated the business, probably the more pushback you get.
I would definitely agree. And the task forces, they are, there's sometimes a lot of work because you just are listening to more voices.
Right. It's a lot of voices. Yeah. A lot of people like me, I know what's going to work in my area.
That's exactly. But you know what? In the end, it's totally worth it because usually those voices bring something to the table. And our franchisees, most of them have been in, especially in North America, they've been in the Five Guys system for many years. And they're just as dedicated to the in-store experience and to the food quality as the Murrells. It's their livelihood too. So they get it. But, they've done a lot of really great things. And so it's just kind of corralling everybody and making sure we stay true to who we are. But they do a good job of also pushing us.
That's great. Well, I mean, you've seen some tremendous growth over the 12 years at Five Guys. I mean, it's hard to even fathom, to go from whatever it was when you started to over 1,500 stores in 10 countries. What advice would you give other heads of marketing, whether it's what to focus on, how to you've outlived the head of marketing tenure by like threefold now. Not to call that out.
Yeah.
So Jerry's listening. Jerry, I think you got a good one. Don't make any changes. But, what advice would you have? Maybe it's how you started in the digital for the first time. Sometimes that can be scary too. I don't want to tell you what to talk about, but.
I think you're on the right path. I mean, that's what I would say. I think learning as much as you can, so yes, I've been with the same company for, almost 13 years. And so obviously I know a lot more than I did there. And all I've learned is within the company. So it's not like I had all of this experience at a different company and brought it in. So I think I've had to learn a lot on my own. And then also from others, right? We've partnered with really great, either agencies or just freelancers or individuals who know more than I do. And I've just soaked them in and, tried to find people that we trust who can, again, do those things that I don't know how to do. But I think also staying confident, and the Murrells are so great at this, and they've allowed all of, I think, the employees at Five Guys to stay true to what we do know, right? So I did not know digital media. And I would probably say I still don't know a lot. I can understand some things, but I know Five Guys, and I know what fits under the Five Guys brand. And I feel like I know our customers. So I think being confident in what you do know, and then partnering with really great people and the things you don't know, and being honest about what you don't know. I found working with agencies, they really appreciate when I tell them, like, look, I don't know. I'm not an expert in programmatic advertising. Can you explain it to me? Help me understand it. I'll trust that you guys know more about buying media if you trust that I know more about Five Guys.
Right. That's really good advice. Any tips on how to find great people to work with outside the company? I'm just curious if anything comes to mind.
Yeah, it's been interesting because we hadn't worked with anyone outside, for quite a while. Mm-hmm. And so I think we were nervous, but it does take time. And in the end, you have to find the right people, sometimes within a company. So, we've worked with a large agency and we're now working with a little bit of a smaller agency. But in the end, we found great people within both of the agencies that understand us. I think it's just that workflow, like however we know, and my team knows that we work well with people who are super organized, that keep us organized, that right. If they keep us on task, we're willing, we step up and we can work really hard. We love organized people. And so that's what we found works for us. I think it's knowing your strengths and weaknesses and then finding people who are the opposite.
Nice. I love getting to know the person that I'm talking to, and I think listeners do as well. And I love this question that I'm going to ask you, which is, is there an experience of your past that defines or makes up who you are today?
It is a good question. And thinking about it, I laugh because I'm horrible talking about myself. If my husband would tell you, if you asked me my favorite color, I'd probably stumble. But I thought about this one a little bit. And I think my dad was a small business owner. And so growing up, I watched him run. He sold motorhomes and travel trailers. He sold like home heating oil and Christmas trees a couple of years too. And so I think growing up as a kid, watching my dad run his own business and seeing like his passion and dedication and even his like prioritization in life, there's times he ended up closing and losing his business, but he always put our family first, so he worked really hard and put a lot of time in his business, but my dad still took me to the bus stop every morning. So I think has definitely played into, especially my career.
Yeah, that's a great experience, a great story. What fuels you? What drives you personally?
I mean, maybe this comes from my parents too, but it's my family. I have 3 little girls. And so, I'm always thinking of being a role model for them. And I think, I want to do right by them, make my parents proud still. I've definitely grown up, but I want my husband and my parents to be proud of what I do. And so I always think of them. That's
great. What ages are they? I've got a 10-year-old girl.
Oh, yeah. So you're a little bit older. So I have 3 girls, which is 8, 6, and 3.5.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Those are fun ages.
They are. We have a very girly household.
Yeah, we're starting to enter the preteen phase with attitude. So if my daughter is listening, I know, and I tell everyone. So, but it's a fun time.
I'll tell her you're still cool.
Oh, thank you. Well, I have to tell her that people think I'm cool because she doesn't believe me.
Oh, no.
But back to you. Back to the reason we're on this show. If we step back a little bit, are there brands or companies or causes that you take notice of, or you think others should be watching?
Sure. So I have a little bit of a guilty pleasure. My Instagram feed is filled with design blogs and design bloggers. I love those. And actually, some of them, I think it goes back to my kind of love of small businesses. It probably attracted me to Five Guys and, my dad. But if anyone follows younghouselove.com, they're great. They're actually semi-local. They're in Richmond, Virginia, a great design blog. And I guess I really love to follow other independent businesses. There's a kid's shoe company called Freshly Picked that does really great things. It's just cool to see the following they've built. And then I would also do a kind of local plug. I love our local brewery. Yeah, Virginia's and I think across the U.S. has a great local beer brewery scene, and Bad Wolf Brewery here in my town in Virginia. They do great things, right? I like that small companies are helping their communities and trying something new.
No,
I like to watch those guys.
That's great. That's great. I think in your line of business, those are great things to be watching, like what's working, what's not working. Even though Five Guys is a franchise, I don't know. When I go to the franchise, the location I go to all the time, I kind of start to know the people. Like it feels like it's my store. So I don't know if that's what you're going for, but like I see the same people pretty regularly, probably more than I should admit, but it just feels a little more familial.
Yeah, that's definitely what we're going for. I mean, that's what we're trying not to lose, right? And I love hearing people. Sometimes franchisees get upset when someone walks in and say, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize Five Guys was so big and national." And I think that's great. I want someone to feel like this Five Guys is their Five Guys. And I think that also from like a marketing perspective, I like following the small businesses on social because that's who you like, right? That's who you want to like see pictures of on social media. You don't necessarily want your social media feed full of like big corporations, but you like the brands that do cool stuff. And so I think we want to follow what they're doing in the social space.
Right. No, it's good. It's good. And they've even learned my daughter's order now. It took a while and I get strange looks when I go to new restaurants, but she likes bacon on bread, which means I order a BLT, no lettuce, no tomato, no mayo. And they look, mean the bacon and the bun? And I was like, yes, that's exactly. It'd be faster to order it that way, but I order it based on the menu.
That's awesome.
so,
I love it.
Last question for you. What do you think the future of marketing is going to look like?
Oh man, I don't know if I'm qualified to answer it, but I'll try. I think it's, we've watched it evolve from the telling consumers through ads, like, that real kind of salesy piece to the more social. And I just see that moving more and more. If you look at it for people with kids, you see them looking on an iPad on YouTube, and they know how to click through those ads faster than anybody else.
So true.
And with, my kids don't know what a commercial is. They're amazed by it. And I think that shows that we as marketers are going to have to adapt. And I think we are, right? It's the influencers, as much as I'm not sure how that's all going to fit. I think they play a role. And when you look at that stuff too, I think it goes back to that word of mouth piece, right? Humans have always wanted to try things or go to places that their friends recommend. And so, just what's the new way of sharing what your friends like and expounding upon that? I think that's where marketing will be.
That's great. That's great. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been so much fun.
Thank you. I wish I could deliver a burger to your house. I should have planned that better.
No, well, anytime I get to talk about bacon, I mean, it's a great interview. So.
That's great. Okay. Well, this was a lot of fun.
Thank you. Marketing Today is brought to you by Atomic. Atomic focuses on unleashing the growth potential for clients we serve. Atomic is a strategic consultancy specializing in business, marketing, brand, and innovation. Our singular goal is to help you accelerate your efforts with the right mix of expertise, analysis, and creativity. Check us out at atomic.com. ATOMCK.com. Hi, it's Alan again. Marketing Today was created and produced by me, with writing and editing by Kevin Greeley, social media support by Megan Woods, art and graphic design by Sarah Dell. If you're new to Marketing Today, please feel free to write us a review on iTunes or your favorite listening platform. Don't forget to subscribe and tell your friends and colleagues about the show. I love to hear from listeners, and you can contact me at marketingtodaypodcast.com. There you'll also find complete show notes with links to anything we talk about on any episode. You can also search our archives. I'm Alan Hart, and this is Marketing Today.